Hey everybody, so today we're going to be making a card wallet, and the pattern's going to be free on Weaver's website. I'll show you how to put the pattern together. You can just go print it off. And we're going to be using some of their new bridal colors. This is their, I think, Select English Bridal. This is the purple, and this is the green, which is like a pretty spot-on British racing green. I have some really nice green Ritza Tiger thread that I haven't used yet, so I'm going to actually do green on green. So we're going to use this green leather to make the piece. So let's get into the pattern. So this is a one-piece pattern, but the pattern was too long to fit on 8.5 by 11, so I cut it in half. So I'm just going to cut out these two squares, and then I'll show you how to put it together. So this little sliver here, and I'll put the markings on the pattern. I haven't fully made the PDF yet, but this is just the overlap. So you can overlap either side, and this is just packing tape. And I'm going to put the packing tape. And then what I like to do is put a little packing tape on the other side. You don't need a lot, but it just makes it a little more solid of a pattern. And that's it. That's our pattern. So we have two holes to punch. This is going to be where our pockets fold over. And it's just a very simple card wallet that's good for simple gifts. It doesn't take a lot of leather, so you can test new leathers if you're just getting squares of them to try out. Sell them at farmers markets, you know, the usual stuff. So let's get to making this. So I'm using, this is about a 4-ounce leather. Because it's only one layer, you can go a little bit thicker if you want to give it a little substance. You could also go really thin with it, or you could line it. And of course we're just going to trace this out and cut it out. As usual with our free patterns, I've left everything straight so that if you want to just do straight cut pockets, you can. But these are the edges are gonna fold in and become our pocket, and I want to put a curve on it. So what I'm gonna do is I just have a half-empty roll of painter's tape here. I'm gonna use the grid on my cutting board to center this, and just do a little curve for the pocket, and just make it a little bit nicer to use. And all I'm doing is, this is 4 inches wide, so it's fairly simple. If you have anything round, I'm just going in 2 inches, an inch, so 2 blocks, 2 half inches. An inch on either side, and then I know that it's centered. And just tracing that curve. And you can, like, if you wanna then go in and like use a smaller curve to kind of round it off, you can do that. I find it's easier to just learn how to do that part by hand. So I'm not gonna start my cut like this. I'm gonna kind of run along the edge and then dip in and catch my line. And then I'm gonna curve out of it. And then you get that nice curve, but you don't have to do a lot of tracing with all sorts of stuff like that. And you can see I'm finishing my cut by running parallel to my edge because I didn't come straight out. I took that curve with the goal of ending up having my blade being parallel to the edge. And so now we have a nice smooth curve with no sharp edges. We don't need to do any sanding or anything like that. We just need to burnish. So once we have everything burnished, we're going to just burnish these tops because we're going to fold these in and glue them, so we can't burnish them once they're put together. You don't have to do this step, but I included marks to install a snap so that when we fold this closed, it'll snap shut, but you won't see the snap. So I'm going to install those. And I'm going to use a glove snap, so I need one hole that's a little bit smaller. And then I use, of course, this will totally vary by the type of glove snap you're using and the type of rotary punch, etc. But for me, the big side of the glove snap fits perfectly with the biggest hole in my rotary punch. So we're just going to get these installed on the Little Wonder, and then it's time to make our marks and glue it all up and stitch it. So we're going to fold right here. So I'm just going to make a little mark with pencil and then fold it up and then make another little mark so that I know where to glue to. And we're going to do that on both sides. Once we have everything glued, we have to stitch it up. I'm going to mark my stitches on the inside. I'm not going to stitch all the way across. I'm just going to stitch the pockets. And I'm not going to bring my stitch line all the way down because we don't want to stitch too close to this. We want to leave this where it folds over. We want to leave a little bit of room there, just so the wallet can function nicely when it has a bunch of cards in it. And I am going to count my stitches so that each side has the same amount so that it's even. So I have a new Ritza color, Hunter Green, that I've never used before. We're going to use that. Let's open this up and see outside of the plastic. I think it's going to match pretty perfectly. Yeah, that's almost an exact match. So yeah, so we're going to use this so we have a just totally matching piece. I usually do contrast colors because it's always nice when you, oh, where's the end of it? It's always nice to do contrasting colors when you hand stitch because that's kind of like, oh, there it is. That's kind of like the, you know, one of the highlights of the piece, right? It's like, look how straight my stitching is, look how consistent everything is. But every once in a while, it's really nice to do an all-matching piece. And I'm using the 5mm spacing with the 0.6mm Ritza Tiger thread. Now you can see I stitched down, but I didn't stitch over. That's kind of a popular thing to do. And there's nothing really wrong with it, but you have to know going into it that this is going to be the first point of failure in your stitching. If you loop a stitch around here, even if it's a synthetic thread, that's going to be the first thing that breaks on the whole wallet. Could be 4 or 5 years down the road, could be 10 years down the road, but that's why I usually don't do any looping over on outside seams, because it's going to rub against a pocket or against whatever before the rest of the wallet does. So we left everything flat. Now all we have to do is just sand this down, and I'm just going to bevel a little bit, burnish, and we'll be good to go. And here we go. Here's the finished piece. Super simple. So remember, free pattern on the Weaver website. It'll be the first link in the description. And we open it up. So this is 4 cards on either side. So this holds a good deal. I mean, there's plenty of room in here to put another 3 or 4 cards. And as it breaks in, you could hold probably 8 or 10 cards on either side. But it's just very simple design. So one piece folded over. I like the snap that keeps it closed. We don't usually do things like that. And remember, you can make this without the snap. So a little quick review on the new green leather, the green bridle by Weaver. I really, really like it. It's very soft. It's the perfect weight for something like this. This is, I think, their 4 ounce. And it struck through, which is nice. You don't have to paint edges. You can just burnish them up and everything matches. And this is, again, the Ritza Hunter Green. That's the match that you get on that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Again, link in the description for the free pattern. We'll see you in the next one.